A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Primetime News coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. We have a whole lineup of local, international and sports stories for you this evening, but before that, let's take a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Elections, including presidential election, to be held in 2024 and 2025, President assures. SLPP to move towards victory with new program addressing past mistakes. Namal Rajapaksa says National Development Program to rebuild Sri Lanka to be launched after October. Sajith Premadasa pledges. Cannot wait until 2048. Sri Lanka will be developed by 2028. Nalin Bandara assures. Judicial Service Commission writes to Speaker on Justice Minister's statement on judges. Parinda Ranasinghe to be sworn in as Acting Attorney General tomorrow. Extraordinary Gazette issued making transport services essential services.
And now the stories in detail. Starting off with the headline-making stories, an extraordinary Gazette notification has been issued by the order of the President, making public transport services and the provision and maintenance of facilities for transport services essential services.
The Extraordinary Gazette notification making public transport services and the provision and maintenance of facilities for transport services essential services has been issued under the powers vested in the President in accordance to the Essential Public Services Act No. 61 of 1979. Accordingly, public transport services for passengers and goods, along with the maintenance and provision of facilities for services like roads, bridges, culverts and railways have been made essentials under this Act. The Extraordinary Gazette, issued under the signature of the President's Secretary Samaneka Naika, came into effect yesterday.
The Election Commission will be empowered to proclaim the date for the presidential election in 17 days.
A rally titled Ekva Jayagamu, loosely translated to Let's Emerge Victorious Together, was held under the leadership of President Ranil Wickremesinghe today.
The rally titled Ekva Jayagamu, loosely translated to Let's Emerge Victorious Together, was held under the leadership of President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Mathura Fort today. Members of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna and United National Party attended the rally. The rally was organised by Minister Kanchana Wijesekara.
Although the most recent crisis was resolved, if the country is not handed over to a leader with a vision and a leader who has experience, if the country is not handed over to a leader who can accept challenges, we will never be able to achieve the goals that we want to. That is the reason why we are proposing, and the people of the country are asking, for this country to be handed over to Ranil Wickremesinghe. But he has still not informed us as to if he will contest the election or not. Although the people of the country are asking for him, Ranil Wickremesinghe is still thinking about how to save the country from the crisis and what kind of concessions can be given to the people of the country. He always thinks about what we can do for the people. If we are to win together, we need this unity. We have no time to fall in the same potholes again. Therefore, no matter the hardships and despite the fact that we have never engaged in politics together, we have a responsibility to build an economy for this country that will not falter. We have a responsibility to work together.
අඩු ආදායම්ලාභීව අමතක කරෙත් නැහැ.
The low-income earners were not forgotten during the challenging times. The Asvasuma program was introduced. Instead of Samurdhi for 1.6 million people, we provided Samurdhi for 2.6 million people. School-going students were given lunch. Pregnant mothers were given a nutrition pack. The fertilizer subsidy was given, and we provided smart boards to all Piriven. We also brought the Urumia program, where land deeds and ownership was given to people who have been living on those lands for generations. Ownership of apartments in Colombo were also given to residents who live there. Why are all of these things being done? It is to develop the economy.
අස්වල අයිතිය ලබා දෙන්න වැනි වැඩසටහන් ගෙනාවා. මේ ඔක්කොම හදන්නේ මොකටද? ආර්ථිකය ගොඩනගන්න.
මේ අය සුභාරංචි එනවටත් බයයි. පහුගිය දවස්වල සුභාරංචි එනවා කියපු ගමන්
These people get scared when you tell them that there is good news coming. When we said that there is some good news coming, they started to protest. When the first tranche of the IMF was released, they bought 40 trade unions and protested. When we got the tranche, they packed up and left. That is what they always do. They brought teachers and protested on the 26th. When the people of this country are feeling that the country is coming out of bankruptcy, they are in pain. That is the reason why they take to the streets and bring the people out to the streets as well.
මිනිස්සු පාරට බස්සන්නේ.
කට්ටිය හයි පොදු ජන පෙරමුණ තීන්දුවක් කරන්න තියෙන්නේ කියලා. ඔබතුමන්ලා එකතු වෙලාද මේ යන්නේ කියලා.
People will ask, has the Podujana Peramuna reached a decision? And if we are now working together, Minister Ramesh Patirana, Minister Ali Sabri, Minister Prasanna Ranatunga, who spoke before, Parliamentarian Mahindananda, who didn't speak because of time constraints, and all other representatives of the Podujana Peramuna, our hope is that you will contest the presidency and win. We know that our party leader is aware of this. A few individuals who are not the leaders of the party may say certain things. Similar things have been said in the past as well. All of them know that the members of the Podujana Peramuna are not afraid to take decisions. We left the Sri Lanka Freedom Party then because the leader of the party at the time did not take proper decisions. Therefore, we created this massive party called the Podujana Peramuna for the needs of the country. I believe that the leaders of the Podujana Peramuna are well aware. And as the presidential election is announced, not just a portion of the SLPP, but the entire SLPP will back Ranil Wickremesinghe at the election. Therefore, you only have to inform us that you are contesting and when your campaign will begin. The ship that is Sri Lanka is caught in a storm at sea. When no one can steer the ship, a few youngsters were asked to try and steer the ship. When all of them said that they can't, there was one person standing on the side and he took control of the ship and brought the ship to port. The captain who saved the lives of all the people on the ship and brought the ship to port is Ranil Wickremesinghe. Remember that this ship is now going to set sail for another 5 years. Are you ready to hand over this ship to Ranil Wickremesinghe when the ship goes out to sea again? We know that you are ready to hand over this country to the man who protected it.
මට බාර දුන්නේ ටයිටැනික් නැව මන් දැන් එක වරායට ගෙනත් තියෙනවා.
I was given the Titanic and I have brought it to port. All of the former captains ran away. No one was left. They were scared of the iceberg. The question at that time was, will the ship sink or will we be able to make it back to the port? Now we have come to the port. What are we doing with this ship? Are we going to fix this ship so that it will last for the next 50 to 100 years? Or are we going to hand over the ship to one of those captains who ran away? Will we head into another crisis? Or will we move forward as a developed nation? We have to make that decision. That is why I am asking all political leaders, let's work together for the country. We have started a new political journey. First comes the country, then comes the party. We have to protect this journey. Therefore, I say, let's move forward without any party differences. I ask the leaders of the opposition to join hands with us. Let's make the entirety of the next parliament into a government. Let's go on this new path. Then you too can learn from me. We have to protect this journey that we're on. We must be dedicated to protect this. I am dedicated to doing this. What should we do after the next election? Let's discuss together and decide. Let's decide what to do with the presidential election and the parliamentary election. I am ready to be bound by it. We are not individual-centric or party-centric today. We are Sri Lanka-centric. So I say to you today, let's move forward as a country. There will be several elections this year and next year. The presidential election will be held and the parliamentary election will also be held. The provincial council elections are also due after that. I don't know who thinks about holding local government elections. We don't have the money to hold elections and all the parties are asking for that election to be held last. I don't know why they are playing the drums if the Perahera is not coming. Let's look at the future and work for it. I sympathize with the people for the suffering that they had to endure. This government sympathizes with them. Secondly, I request you to protect the steps that we have taken. I invite everyone to join us to protect this. I also request all of you to join the path that will lead us to the future.
ආරක්ෂා කරන්නට හැම එක්කෙනාටම එකතු වෙන්න කියලා මං අනාගතේ අලුත් මාර්ගයට එකතු වෙන්න කියලා මං ඔබ සියලු දෙනාගේම ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා.
National organizer of the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumana Namal Rajapaksa stressed that the SLPP must move towards victory through a new program that addresses past mistakes.
The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Mirigam Electorate Conference was held this afternoon. Leading members of the SLPP attended the event.
මේ රටේ තෙල් පොලින් තියුනේ මාස 2යි. ගෑස් නැතුව තියුනේ මාස 2යි. විදුලි බලයක අප්පාදුව තියුනේ මාස 2යි.
The fuel queues, gas queues and power cuts only lasted 2 months. They are trying to compare the one who solved this 2-month crisis with leaders who tackled much longer crises in the country for years. This is absurd. We need to take responsibility for the country because we can't let it be sold off. It is time to elect a leader who makes us proud as Sri Lankans. We will introduce such a leader in the future. Be patient. We will find a leader who can take the country to the next level, who can pay off the debts and develop the economy. Let's move forward together.
මේ රටේ ආර්ථිකය ගොඩ ගන්න පුළුවන්. මේ රටේ මේ තියෙන ණය කන්දරාව ගෙවලා ණය නැති රටක් බවට පත් කරන්න පුළුවන් නායකයා අපි ඔබතුමන්ලට ලබා දෙනවා. අන්නේ නායකයා එක්ක අපේ ඉදිරි ගමන යමු.
අපි ජනාධිපතිතුමා පත් කරගත්තා. අපේ දැන් කොන්ත්‍රාත්තුව ඉවර වෙමින් තියෙන්නේ.
We are discussing whether to renew the contract or not. There is no sign of policy being made yet. We assure you, we will not betray your trust. Therefore, we are making efforts to hold discussions. Basil Rajapaksa is asking whether we are taking the 6.9 million people into consideration for this.
අපි 69 ලක්ෂයට ගෙනියනවාද නැද්ද කියලා.
හැම දෙයක්ම දේශපාලනික වශයෙන් තමන්ගේ වාසියක් කරගන්න සමහර දේශපාලන පක්ෂ මෙලට රාජ්‍ය යාන්ත්‍රණය වගේම තරුණ පරම්පරාව.
Some political parties are trying to control state resources and the youth for their own political gain. People of this country are hesitant and resentful, which is understandable when their favorite party makes mistakes. Let's take action to fix those mistakes and move forward as a new political force of the modern generation with a new program. The SLPP will work towards winning your support at the next election.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොදුජන පෙරමුණ ජයග්‍රහණය කිරීමට අපි කටයුතු කරමු කියලා ආරාධනා කරමින් ඔබ සියලු දෙනා සුබ අනාගතයක් පතමින් තෙරුවන් සරණ පතමින් මානයන.
The DP Education felicitation ceremony in the Jaffna district was held today. It was held under the auspices of DP Education founder Dhammika Pereira.
3,000 students were awarded certificates at the DP Education felicitation ceremony in the Jaffna district today. Sri Lanka Freedom Party MP and Deputy Chairman of Committees of Parliament, Agajan Ramanathan, was also among those who attended the event.
ඉස්කෝලවලට හදපු IT ලැබ් එක මගේ පුද්ගලික මුදලින් හදලා මගේ නම ගහලා තමයි ඕපන් කරන්න හැදුවේ.
I built an IT lab for schools using my own money. Initially, I wanted to name it after myself. However, I realized that a single lab wouldn't make a significant difference. So I donated it to the government and it became known as the Mahindodaya Technical Laboratory. Unfortunately, after 2015, the government built thousands of similar labs, but with no proper curriculum. Subsequently, these labs fell out of priority. However, my vision for IT education lives on. The program I envisaged is similar to what the students at DP Education IT campus are learning today. This is the dream I had, to see children equipped with these skills. We've now completed the first 100 projects for our IT campus program, just like America. President Obama even encouraged parents to fully integrate Code Toward J curriculum into their children's education. This program teaches problem solving by breaking down challenges into manageable parts, a skill often lacking in traditional education. By following the program, our children can learn IT just like their American counterparts.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa said the National Development Programme to rebuild Sri Lanka will be launched after October. He expressed these views during the Samagi Jana Paura programme in Matale.
The Samagi Jana Paura programme in Matale was held under the leadership of opposition leader Sajith Premadasa.
After
giving the 6.9 million people a light of hope, our leaders made stubborn and foolish decisions, betraying them. We assure you, a historic win will be at the Samagi Jana Balavegia political camp and not anywhere else. It is not just one or two who are joining to support Sajith Premadasa. By next week, nearly 10 parliamentarians from the SLPP will join the Samagi Jana Balavegia alliance for this victory.
දස දෙනෙකුට ආසන්න ප්‍රමාණයක් ලබන සතියේ මේ සමගි ජනසන්ධානයත් එක්ක එකතු වෙනවා කියලා ආදරණීය පණිවිඩ දෙමින් සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මැතිතුමා ප්‍රමුඛ සමගි ජනසන්ධානයට ජය වේවා කියලා පතමින් නතර වෙන බොහොම ස්තුතියි ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම.
දැන් රාජපක්ෂ පැටවු ටික රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහත්තයත් එක්ක එකතු වෙලා ඉන්නවා. දැන් රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ දන්නවා රාජපක්ෂලගේ.
The Rajapaksa followers have joined to support Ranil Wickremesinghe now. Ranil Wickremesinghe knows he cannot win this with only their support. So he is trying to break apart the Samagi Jana Balavegia now. Imagine Ranil Wickremesinghe, Mahindananda and Prasanna Ranatunga on the same stage. How sad. The people who are capable of rebuilding this country are on this stage today.
How sad. මේ රට ගොඩ දාන්න පුළුවන් කණ්ඩායමේ ඉන්නේ මේ වේදිකාවේ කියන එක මතක තියාගන්න. සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස බාරගන්නේ මේ රට විතරක් නෙමෙයි රටේ.
Sajith Premadasa will not only take the responsibility of this country but also the country's future, education of the children and the hopes of all citizens. Not by 2048, he will make Sri Lanka a developed country by 2028.
දියුණු රටක් බවට පාත් කරනවා කියන එක මතක් කරන්න කැමතියි.
මේ රටම ආදරය කරන
Sajith Premadasa, who is loved by the entire country, will be the president in October. That is the good news.
ඓතිහාසික මාතල පුරවරේ ඉඳගෙන මම රටටම පැහැදිලි කර දෙනවා. ඔක්තෝබර් මාසෙන්
I remind you today, a massive national development program will be established in the country after October. We will take actions to execute that program. Some will ask whether it's possible. I'm asking you to support Premadasa's son with confidence and trust. I will definitely get the country out of this crisis.
ඔය කියන දේවල් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා මම ඔබට කියනවා බය නැතුව ප්‍රේමදාසගේ පුතා එක්ක ඔබගේ හෘද සාක්ෂිය හදවතේ විශ්වාසය මාත් එක්ක තියාගන්න අනිවාර්යෙන්ම මේ රට ගොඩ ගන්නවා.
The Anuradhapura Youth Rally of the National People's Power was held in Kakirawa under the leadership of NPP leader Anurukumara Disanayaka.
What are these politics? The voters vote at an election. Ever since then, they lived in fear of the rulers. Why should they live in fear? The ruler should be afraid of the people. The people voted them into parliament. That is how a politician becomes a leader. That is how a politician becomes a minister. For a short time period, the rulers are afraid of the people. That is during the election period. Shouldn't that be changed? Our country requires new political reforms. Firstly, the political power that is in the hands of these age-old political families need to shift and go back to the general public. Secondly, ruling a country must depend on the people.
News First with the people.
For many years, Newsfirst has been stressing on the value of the Sea of Sri Lanka and the protection of its resources. There's a reason for that. Our land, our sea, and all the resources within it belong to the people. We need to safeguard them all. Foreign media as well as local media are now reporting on another piece of news that demonstrates that value. Week in English newspapers revealed details regarding preparations to relinquish claims over Afensi-Nikitin Seamount or ANC, a cobalt-rich underwater mountain situated within the bounds of the Sea of Sri Lanka. The Morning reported that maritime law experts have cautioned President Ranil Wickremesinghe against making unilateral decisions regarding the controversial Afensi-Nikitin Seamount.
The Morning newspaper reported today that President Ranil Wickremesinghe is planning to take a unilateral decision to cede Sri Lanka's claim to the Afensi-Nikitin Seamount, a cobalt-rich underwater mountain situated within the bounds of the Sea of Sri Lanka, to India. Experts point out that the president cannot unilaterally cede an asset of the country without a mandate from the people. The report quotes experts as saying that if this asset is to be ceded to another country, it would have to be approved by not only a two-thirds majority in parliament, but also at a referendum of the people. The report further quotes experts as saying that this matter has to be referred to the Supreme Court as well. The reports further point out that if Afensi-Nikitin Seamount, a cobalt-rich underwater mountain situated within the bounds of the Sea of Sri Lanka, is ceded to a foreign country, it will be a violation of the Constitution of Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, the Sunday Times reported that India's Adani, involved in the West Container Terminal development at the Colombo port and the controversial wind power project in Mannar, is also engaged in a third project here, proposed mining for the valuable minerals in Sri Lanka's ocean bed. The report added that according to a high official associated with the negotiations, the Adani Group has stepped in to form a joint venture with the Taiwanese company Yumiko Taiwan to exploit the cobalt reserve. This deal has not been finalized as negotiations are still ongoing.
What is the Afensi-Nikitin Seamount?
The Afensi-Nikitin Seamount is a structural feature 400 kilometers long and 150 kilometers wide in the Sea of Sri Lanka, located 1,100 kilometers or 618 nautical miles east of the Maldives, 1,350 kilometers or 840 nautical miles off the coast of India, and 1,050 kilometers or 650 nautical miles off the coast of Sri Lanka. This underwater mountain, formed through volcanic activity, serves as a critical habitat and hotspot for marine life. The seamount has a rare metal cobalt deposit worth billions of dollars.
What is cobalt and why is it so valuable?
Cobalt is a mineral essential for various commercial, industrial and military applications, particularly in rechargeable batteries. This mineral is widely used in electric vehicles and batteries and is seen as a vital element in the green energy transition. Cobalt is used in many alloys and superalloys to make parts in aircraft engines, gas turbines, high-speed steels and corrosion-resistant alloys. It is also used as a catalyst for the petroleum and chemical industries. These are only a few uses of cobalt, and it goes on to show what a valuable resource this is for Sri Lanka.
What is the issue now?
India has applied to the International Seabed Authority or the ISA to explore the Afanasi-Nikitin seamount that is located in the Sea of Sri Lanka. India also paid a $500,000 fee to the ISA to consider its application, in which it spelled out its desire to conduct extensive geophysical, geological, biological and oceanographic and environmental studies in the proposed area over 15 years. But while evaluating India's application, the ISA found that Afanasi-Nikitin seamount lies entirely within an area also claimed by Sri Lanka as lying within the boundaries of its continental shelf. The ISA sought a response from India to its finding of the competing territorial claims. But on the 12th of March, India said it would not be able to respond in time for the ISA to consider its comments during the ISA's 29th session of the Legal and Technical Commission, which is considering the application. As a result, the ISA said that India's application has been put on hold. The ISA is expected to review the application again once India responds. Sri Lanka in 2009 applied for an extension of the limits of its continental shelf from 200 nautical miles to a much larger area. The CLCS is yet to decide on Sri Lanka's claim, but if it is accepted, the Afanasi-Nikitin seamount would fall within Sri Lanka's nautical boundaries. In 2010, India responded to Sri Lanka's submission before the CLCS without objecting to its smaller neighbourhood's claims. But in 2022, it changed its position to argue that Sri Lanka's claims would harm India's interests, and India requested the Commission not to consider and qualify the submission made by Sri Lanka. The two countries have been embroiled in several controversies surrounding the maritime boundaries of the nation. China had dispatched many of its research vessels in the Sea of Sri Lanka amidst such a background. International media quoted a senior maritime law expert saying that India's move appears to be driven more by a desire to establish a foothold in the area to deter any Chinese presence than by any immediate exploration aims. According to the ISA, China, Germany and South Korea currently have contracts for deep-sea explorations in different parts of the Indian Ocean. In January, India had approached the Jamaica-based International Seabed Authority seeking approval to explore the cobalt-rich Afanasi-Nikitin seamount, but this application was not approved since it was located within the bounds of the Sea of Sri Lanka. The people of Sri Lanka have sovereignty over the territory of Sri Lanka, which includes the seas and seabed that belongs to the country. Ceding these assets to foreign countries without any discussion or approval from the general public, the legislature of the judiciary means the future generations of Sri Lanka would be deprived of reaping the benefits of these assets. Can the sovereignty of our country be betrayed like this, and our assets be ceded to a foreign country?
On to another one of our headline-making stories. Senior Additional Solicitor General, President's Counsel Parinder Ranasinghe said he will be sworn in as Acting Attorney General tomorrow. Parinder Ranasinghe confirmed this to Newsfirst today. Senior Additional Solicitor General, President's Counsel Parinder Ranasinghe is a son of former Chief Justice Parinder Ranasinghe.
In a letter to Speaker Mahinda Yapabewardena, the Judicial Service Commission has responded to the recent statement made by Minister of Justice, Prisons Affairs and Constitutional Reforms, Dr. Vijayadasa Rajapaksa, against the judiciary. The JSC said it has conducted an observation into the minister's statement. The documents tabled by the Justice Minister during his parliamentary speech have been forwarded by the Justice Ministry to the JSC. The observations have communicated in a letter signed by Chief Justice Jayanta Surya in his capacity as the President of the JSC and JSC members Justice Vijit Malalgoda and Justice Gamini Amarasekara. The Speaker confirmed this to Newsfirst and said he has received the observation by the JSC. Speaker Mahinda Yapabewardena said it would be tabled in Parliament on the 9th of July. In a statement on the 24th of June, the Judicial Service Association said it has observed a specific effort to discredit impartial judges is unfolding in parts. The Judicial Service Association points out that one of the steps in the discrediting effort is to create ideologies that will cause personal discredit to the judges who have taken important decisions for the well-being of the judicial system after their they are transferred. The Judicial Service Association serves as the premier professional organization for district judges and magistrates in Sri Lanka. The Judicial Service Association convened a special meeting today at the Colombo District Court No. 8. The meeting aimed to discuss steps regarding the request by Minister of Justice, President Affairs and Constitutional Reforms, Dr. Premadasa Rajapaksha, to summon the Judicial Service Association President, K. Galle District Judge Rura and the Secretary, Galle Magistrate Isurunethi Kumara, before the Parliament's Powers and Privileges Committee. Judges from across Sri Lanka participated in the meeting, representing the Judicial Service Association.
The people in Thimbirigasyaya this evening for another week of protest against the current state of affairs gripping Sri Lanka. The demonstrators, carrying banners and chanting slogans, called for an end to corruption and a government that they say has failed to address the spiralling issues.
Today is the 30th of June 2024, another Sunday evening over 2 years after the Aragalaya began. The people are still on the streets of Colombo demanding a system change. But has the situation in Sri Lanka changed?
And we know that the elections are coming up constitutionally. It has to be held. There is no way someone can postpone the election because the election is a must at the moment. The president's term is over. When the president gave his speech, his address to the nation, he spoke about the people having to return the debts, pay back the debts after many years. It sounds fantastic to some, but it sounds very dangerous to many because one day when we have to pay back the debt, how are we going to do that? Because as it is, the present president has not developed the country.
All we're asking is that we want elections. We want the mandated constitutional elections to be held. Every day we're hearing a different story. It's going to be held, it's not going to be held. The president's term is going to be extended, it's not going to be extended. What is the truth? What are you so afraid of?
This week we found out that the local bids for the Mena wind power project came in at a price that was almost half what we had. We have signed a contract with a foreign party, an Indian party, for 20 plus years. So the question is, why are we giving these deals, unsolicited deals, without opening local bids?
This year marks the completion of 100 years since the enshrinement of the revered statue of Lady Madu. This is the first of the special segments by Newsfirst in line with this anniversary.
When we travel along Premadasa main road, we meet the Madu Junction, which has a lot of history because of a statue. As we can see, we are in the land of our Lady of Madu.
There are many stories in history about how the statue of Our Lady of Madu came to Sri Lanka. But many people are of the opinion that this statue belonged to another country in the past because of the beautiful features seen in the statue itself. In the year 1544, under the reign of King Sankili of Jaffna, 600 Catholics were killed in Thottawali Manor. After this incident, a group of Catholics who managed to escape carried the statue of Our Lady of Madu and engaged in their religious observances in Mande. When the Dutch invaded Manor, the Catholics also had to leave Mande. They had arrived in the village of Madu, where a young woman named Helena, the daughter of a Portuguese captain, built a shrine in the small village of Madu, and the statue was placed there. Today, the statue of Our Lady of Madu is enshrined in this solemn chamber in the shrine's newly built dome.
The The first ever 2024 study in Korea education fair is underway in Colombo, offering a unique opportunity to explore top Korean universities and jumpstart your academic journey in South Korea.
The Embassy of the Republic of Korea and the National Institute for International Education of Korea, along with Sri Lanka's Ministry of Education, hosted the first ever 2024 Study in Korea Education Fair. The event opens doors for Sri Lankan students seeking opportunities for higher education in South Korea. Eleven Korean universities will be present, offering personalized consultations on admission procedures, academic programs and scholarships.
Today, Korea is recognized as one of the charming destinations for higher studies with its leading educational systems that cater to the modern-day job market, especially to align with the technological advancements. In this context, the education fair will be a place to receive accurate information on requirements and diverse degree courses offered by the Korean universities. In addition, we have also prepared side events like Study in Korea Talk Concert, where Sri Lankan graduates from the Korean universities will narrate their real-life experiences. Taste of Korean street food booth is set up to give you the joy to experience popular Korean street foods prepared by a Korean chef.
This year's Study in Korea Education Fair signifies the increasing trends in the world to globalize education opportunities due to inadequacy of opportunities for higher education in Sri Lanka and many other factors. A large number of Sri Lankan learners are examining the avenues for higher learning research and competency development. Now for an example, the last GC advanced level examination, nearly 340,000 students sat for the examination. 2 weeks ago, the results released. 170,000 students qualified to enter our universities, but only in the 17 state universities we can accommodate only 43,000. So therefore, the rest of the students who qualify for higher education are looking for some other avenues. So at this stage, I believe exhibition or the fair is timely organized, and I am sure our younger generation with their knowledge, they will definitely improve skills if they are selected to universities or the higher education institutions in South Korea. I am sure then they will be back to Sri Lanka to serve their mother nation with their knowledge and skills.
The 2024 Study in Korea Education Fair will be held for 2 days, Sunday and Monday at Trace Export City, Maradana, Colombo 10.
The Alliance Française de Colombo launched its exhibition Sports Friendly, the Field of Diversity yesterday.
The Alliance Française de Colombo hosted the Sri Lankan leg of Emilian Bufford's international photography project, Sport Friendly, the Field of Diversity, which concluded yesterday. The exhibition celebrated inclusivity in sports and centered on the inspiring Sea Sisters, a group of female surfers from Valigama. Known for defying expectations, the Sea Sisters challenge societal norms and push boundaries within the surfing community. They empower local women and girls to embrace the ocean through swimming and surfing. Photographer Munira Mutahar's impactful images captured their journey. The exhibition kicked off yesterday with a panel discussion held later in the day. The discussion explored how the Sea Sisters embody the power of sports to break barriers and promote inclusivity.
About tourism and about the ocean education and everything.
The Breaking Barriers Making Waves exhibition will run from the 29th of June to the 20th of July at the Alliance Française de Colombo, open daily from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m.
News just in, fuel prices have been revised. 92-octane petrol reduced by 11 rupees with the new price standing at 344 rupees. 95-octane petrol reduced by 41 rupees with the new price standing at 379 rupees per litre, while super diesel reduced by 22 rupees with the new price standing at 355 rupees per litre, while prices of auto diesel and kerosene remain unchanged. At least 18 people have been killed and 30 injured in a series of deadly blasts in Nigeria's northeastern Borno state. There's a look at the details and much more on The World Today.
The state's emergency management agency said the suspected suicide bombers attacked a wedding, funeral and hospital in the town of Goza. Foreign media reported that Borno state has been at the center of a 15-year insurgency by Boko Haram Islamist militants, which has displaced more than 2 million people and killed more than 40,000. Boko Haram gained international notoriety in 2014 when it kidnapped more than 270 schoolgirls from the town of Chibok, also in Borno state. A curfew has been imposed by the military. A police officer has been injured in a crossbow attack outside the Israeli embassy in the Serbian capital. Interior Minister Ivica Dacic told reporters that the officer had subsequently shot and killed the assailant. The attacker, who authorities say was Serbian, hit the policeman in the neck with an arrow. The officer underwent surgery and is no longer in a serious condition. Officials have classified the attack as terrorist in nature. France is voting today in a parliamentary election that could make history, with the far right closer to power than it has ever been in modern times. More than 2.6 million people of France's 49 million voters have registered to vote by proxy, an indication of the high turnout expected for such a pivotal election. This is a two-round election, and most of the National Assembly's 577 seats will not be decided until the second round runoff vote next Sunday. As soon as the first results come in on Sunday evening, National Rally's opponents will have to decide who to back in the runoff battles across France in a bid to ensure that absolute majority does not happen.
They've been planning for, what they've been dreaming of, and what now has come to fruition for them. Very popular bunch of cricketers. And, their contribution to the game is now rewarded with the ultimate prize.
And in sports news, India capped off a remarkable tournament with a victory over South Africa in yesterday's final, solidifying their position as a powerhouse in the world of cricket.
The Kensington Oval in Barbados witnessed a nail-biting climax to the 2020 World Cup. Opting to bat first, India set a target of 176 runs on the board, losing 7 wickets in their 20 overs. Virat Kohli and Akshar Patel stitched together a crucial partnership of 72 runs. Virat Kohli made 76 runs.
That's high.
South Africa's chase began brightly, but they soon found themselves under pressure as India scalped their first 3 wickets for just 70 runs. Henrich Klaasen, 52 runs, played a valiant knock, keeping South Africa's hopes alive. However, his dismissal by Hardik Pandya swung the momentum back in India's favour. With 16 runs required for victory in the final over and 4 wickets remaining, the drama intensified. The first ball saw a heart-stopping moment as David Miller took a catch off Hardik Pandya's bat, only to be declared not out. South Africa fell short by 7 runs, managing only 169 runs for the loss of 8 wickets in their allotted 20 overs. India emerged victorious over South Africa in the thrilling final.
They all go to ground. They worked extremely hard for this. Have a look at the support staff there. It means so much.
In a historic first, South Africa had finally qualified for a World Cup cricket final. However, South Africa, consisting of many strong players who were undefeated throughout the tournament, had to settle for the runner-up position. In a surprising turn of events, man of the match Virat Kohli and captain Rohit Sharma announced their retirement from international T20 cricket after the match.
This was my last T20 World Cup. This is exactly what we wanted to achieve. This is an amazing game. I was telling Rohit today when we went out to bat, I was like, one day you feel like you can't get a run. God is great. I bow my head in gratitude. I'm just really grateful I was able to get the job done for the team on the day that it mattered the most.
ICC Men's T20 Cricket World Cup Champions 2024.
This was my last game as well. I've enjoyed since the time I started playing this format, and nothing better time to say goodbye to this format. I've loved every moment of this. This is what I wanted. I wanted to win the cup and say.
St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia emerged victorious against Science College, Mount Lavinia in the Inter-School Rugby League. However, at the end of the match, a tense situation arose between the players and the referee.
In the first half of the game played at the Ratmalana Air Force grounds, St. Thomas's took the lead by 13-7. St. Thomas's scored 17 points in the second half, while their opponent Science College scored 19 points in that half. However, St. Thomas's won the game with a score of 30-26. For St. Thomas's, this included 7 tries, a conversion and 2 penalties. However, at the end of the match, a scuffle broke out between the players and the referee.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.